say everything that liar, pedophile, persecutor, Greg Parrish Yates says was a blatant lie. That's the number one.
All right. First of all, I have a right to speak on your behalf, but I'm not going to let you call other people names with regard to that. So if you do it again, then I'm going to cut off your ability to have Mr. Isaacson do it in your stead. All right? It has no place in your position with regard to sentencing. So you're on warning. All right. So what's your position?
Well, the position is I shouldn't get no jail time, first of all, because I didn't commit a crime. The people that committed this crime, I'm the one that actually went to the FBI, filed a complaint, not only with the FBI, but with the DCCA. I sent the email, I sent the fax letter, and I showed up in person to personally make a complaint about what these people did with my documents and jamming people under my good name and my good company name and my good company's reputation. I sent my process to the FBI office in every state that I was in. Now, he's going to sit up there and lie and say I chose some vulnerable victims when I was sought out by these people. They're the ones that called me to Hawaii. I didn't know nobody here. They're the ones that called me here because they saw this work that I did in the other states, such as Florida, which the Florida FBI put me under the same bogus investigation that this FBI did, but declined prosecution because they couldn't find any evidence of no crime because there was none. Because I was proactive before I set up my company up. I sent all my processes and documents to the FBI for them to scrutinize if anything in it was fraudulent or could be deemed as fraudulent, to please notify me before I even set up my company. So there was nothing that I did that was fraudulent or intended to be fraudulent or that was fraudulent against any homeowner in any state, let alone here in Hawaii. I never represented myself as an attorney at law. My website that you all prevented from coming into the evidence shows specifically that I do not want to be an attorney at law. Neither am I a member of the Bar Association. Neither do I claim to be a member of the Bar Association. I am a private attorney general or an attorney in fact. And the reason why I can claim that I was an attorney or attorney in fact for my clients, because every client filed a power of attorney, which is according to your own Hawaii Revised Statute 55-1D and also the Tennessee Code annotated 34-6, 109 through 111. And this is how I'm able to represent and assist all my clients in courts in all the states that I have an office set up. Also, under the federal law, Rule 17, under Next Friend, I was able to assist clients here in Hawaii and other states, which they, on video, with me assisting clients here with no problem with several of the federal judges and state judges in these courts here. None of the documents that I filed were false or fraudulent. I've never been charged with false documents in Hawaii, filing false documents, because I had all my documents approved by the district attorneys in the counties I was in, the anti-predatory lending database, and also the FBI, that nothing I was filing was fraudulent or could be construed as fraudulent. The witnesses that they were able to coerce at the trial by lying, the Madambas gave me a affidavit stating that I was not the one that scammed them, but it was Henry Malinay, Annabelle Baby, and Rowena Valdez. Those are the people that scammed them, but 5 years later, they were coerced by the prosecutor to be able to lie on the stand that I lied to them about what their process was. And it's very upsetting and disturbing that these prosecutors would cherry pick the MBI application and only mention the homeowner's guarantee service or the homeowner service guarantee, but fail to mention the foreclosure disclosure that every client had to file and had to sign, which specifically stated that if they were facing foreclosure, that they did not qualify for the mortgage reduction program. And that's what all of the clients here understood, that I would be fighting in their foreclosure and helping to assist them to stay in their homes, which I did, which is reflected on the record their homes. And they're not in their homes not because of me. It's because I was unlawfully incarcerated for 9 months where I could not litigate on their behalf on things that was not my fault that I was incarcerated wrongfully. I won my case and came back to assist these same people. I did not represent myself as an FBI agent. The government witness, Melvin Ventura and Mary Jean Castillo, both testified, especially Mary Jean. She was in those conferences with a lot of those clients that were signed up that actually even was testifying to prove that I did not make those misrepresentations. Those people blatantly lied on the stand. I showed the documents where they lied. Lorraine Proctor stated that I didn't do anything for her. I showed by the exhibits how many motions I filed on her behalf. I had to take over her litigation, which she had went to Edna Franco, and I had to step in to take over that litigation to keep her in her home, which she still is. I did not cause any harm to any client, and that's the reason why I did not have any complaints filed against me from that day to this one. Still, even the people that came to court that testified still never filed a complaint against me because I did what I was supposed to do. The FBI agent, Megan Crowley, took it upon herself to go to my client's homes unannounced, uncalled, and did a 302 report. In all of her 302s, not one client stated that I scammed them or defrauded them. Those 302s would not let come in to the evidence where the jury could have saw her own words that these people that she interviewed stated I did not do anything wrong to them, but I did everything that they paid me for and also still worked for them when they couldn't pay me. Henry, now he tried to allude to the notion that Henry Malinay and Annabelle Kababy were victims of mine. These people were liars. They were scam artists. I put them on my website because of them scamming people and conning people, and they also conned me. More specifically, Annabelle, because Annabelle's the one that told me that Henry Malinay and Edna Franco had opened up a bank account, but she didn't tell me that she was one of the signers on it. So I defended this woman all these months against the DCCA, thinking that she was an innocent bystander when she was one of the main culprits in the fraud and setting up the mortgage enterprise to try to make it look like it was mortgage enterprise investments. Then they try to allude to the fact that I tried to make my mother into a victim. And the reason why my mother even was involved is because the FBI went around to all the banks here in Hawaii and made me close my bank. They closed all my bank accounts that I had set up here in Hawaii for my clients here. And I had to set up an account in Texas so my clients can have somewhere to send their payments to. Because I wanted to make sure that there was a paper trail for everything that I did. This is not the modus operandi of a scam artist. Scam artists do what Henry Malinay and Edna Franco and Annabelle Kababy did. Take money from people, cash money, with no receipt and no paper trail and no work and no services rendered. That's what they did. I videotaped me going into court defending these people. I videotaped me going to the FBI making a complaint against these people for the fraud they committed against me, my company, and my clients here in Hawaii. You all heard testimony from clients that knew these people. Miss Rosie Thomas, Miss Elabila Jai, Miss Mila Castro. These are Filipino Hawaiian people. And they're talking about I targeted vulnerable Filipinos. Filipino people were not the only people that I had as clients. I had Caucasian clients. I had Samoan clients. I had Hawaiian clients. I had African-American clients. I had Hispanic clients. None of them were vulnerable. The Filipino clients, that most of my clients were college educated. They weren't ignorant people. They weren't scammed. They weren't duped into signing up for my program. They was explained to the program was explained to them fully and sufficiently, and I took my time to go through that. It's not complicated. It's not a whole lot of legal jargon, so no one was scammed or no one was duped into signing that application and signing up for my services. Before anybody signed up for my services, I always encourage them to do research on me, to make sure they understood who I was, what I am, that I'm not a member of the Bar Association. Neither do I ever want to be a part of a corrupt association like the Bar Association, where it's okay to lie in order to get a desired result. I cannot do that. I represent my people with integrity and honesty, and I always will do that.
So, Mr. Williams, you've been speaking for about 10 minutes, and I'm happy to hear your argument with regard to an appropriate sentence. You are really rehashing the trial which has been held, and after the deliberation, the jury has found you guilty of 32 counts. So it's not helpful to the court if you want to argue with regard to the sentence, the reasons why an appropriate sentence would be less than what Mr. Yates has argued for. I'm happy to hear it. Otherwise, rehashing the evidence presented at trial is more appropriate on appeal. So I'll give you 3 more minutes if you want to bring up any points with regard to your sentence.
Well, first of all, the sentence is ridiculous. A 30-year sentence, a sentence that is far beyond a sentence that a murderer would get, a rapist would get, or anyone that actually had victims. This sentence that they're proposing is, quite frankly, racist, it's discriminatory, and it shows the disposition of this prosecution that they didn't charge not one Caucasian employee of mine here in Hawaii or any other, but they only charged me. And now they wanted me to serve 30 years for assisting people into staying in their homes, and they know good and well that the people that did lose their homes, it wasn't because of something that I did. It was because the banks foreclosed on them illegally and unlawfully without a trial by jury, and I did everything that I could to keep those people in homes, and the ones that did get foreclosed on was because I was incarcerated. Ms. Thomas and other ones that was able to keep in contact with me are still in their homes because of what I did. So they're proposing a 360-month sentence or 30-year sentence when Henry Malinay and Annabelle Kababy haven't done a day in prison and are not going to do a day in prison because of the way that they got a plea deal and then was taken off my case as a co-defendant so they would be subjected to these inordinate and ridiculous sentences for mail and wire fraud. Also, under the mail and wire fraud statute in the United States Code, under a Class C felony, the maximum you can get for a Class C felony is 12 years. And now they have 30 years on a wire fraud and mail fraud, which there was no fraud that they ever showed in any of the emails or the 16 payments that were sent. 16 payments that were sent, 12 by Mr. Ventura and 4 by Mr. Evelyn and Arnold Supia. And Mr. Ventura gave me several affidavits, and he testified on the stand that he still trusts me and still believes that I'm a man of faith and I'm a good man. Because all the testimony that he said, the prosecutor said that the other letters of support said that I didn't have integrity, that's a lie. The letters of support, if you read the letters from Dr. Horwitz, Sherry Kane, Ms. Robin Krakauer, Renee Powers, all of these are Caucasian people that know me, that I assisted in their fight against foreclosure. These people are not ignorant of the law. I made sure that they researched. Everything that I did was honorable. That's the reason why I was transparent with my company. So a sentence of any days in prison is a travesty of justice. It's a miscarriage of justice. I've already done time illegally and unlawfully for a crime that I did commit in Florida. He brought up the Florida case. I was not convicted of Florida with the same conduct. This is what they're alleging. No, I was convicted in Florida based on them saying that I filed documents to steal a house from Bank of America. There were no homeowner victims in the Florida case, just like there was no victims here. But they try to make it like it was the same foreclosure scheme in Florida, and it was. The same foreclosure scheme that they're claiming that I did, the FBI in Miami investigated me and declined prosecution. And the reason why they prosecuted me here, because they knew they could get an all-white or all-Asian jury that they could not get in Florida, because no self-respecting, law-abiding citizen could have sat on that jury and convicted me unless it was an all-Caucasian and all-Asian jury. And so I do not deserve any sentence because I did not commit no crime, and I still maintain my innocence. And I got witnesses that will testify today to that fact.
All right. Thank you very much.
Whenever it's appropriate, Your Honor, I've been notified that there